Oh, hello everybody. Hello everybody. Welcome. Nobody's here. That's a recurring theme, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I this is a wacky one. This is a very wacky stream, and it's going to be my approach to philosophically contend with the lack of partners, not necessarily just girlfriends, the lack of girlfriends, partners, whoever in the lives of many of us gathered here today. Um, by many of us gathered here today, I mean nobody, because nobody's here right now. So I'm going to be playing Equestrian War while I ponder one of life's great questions. On Halloween, a scary day, a scary time to be thinking about scary topics. So if you're here lurking, welcome. And if no one ever watches this, I guess this is the reflections of a madman. But we're playing cats and dogs today. So the idea for this stems from the fact that, in life you have to make decisions. You have to act on the decisions. And just why don't we start off the stream with a decision? Why don't we play as Griffonia? All that aside, yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts about the decisions you have to make in life, and a major one in sort of the lore of life is who do you spend your time with, and it's something that everybody kind of has to face unless you're content being alone forever. But some of us are not, and we'll resume this conversation once I pick a country to rule. And kind of want to play as something evil, but also not too evil. It's something spooky because it's Halloween. Economic wasteland, lawless land. It's a pretty interesting looking place. I'd live here. I'd live here. I would definitely live here. Okay, I'm gonna go in. We're going into the Blackroot Bandits, and I'm not doing a full playthrough. It's probably gonna be a half-hour long stream. So, the question I'm mostly trying to ask and answer right now is why don't we have girlfriends? Why don't we? And there's this decision that everybody has to make to spend time with somebody. And most people, I would guess, would want to spend time with somebody. Usually one person, because you don't have the mental bandwidth to be devoting your whole life to a whole bunch of people. At least I don't. I don't know many people that do. So, we have this collective goal to spend time with people. And yet, how do you exactly accomplish this goal? How do you fulfill this notion of getting out into the world and finding somebody to spend time with? You know what I mean? It's a weird one. It's a weird one. And, even if I had a girlfriend, it would still be remarkable that would have taken place. It really seems it. And let me break this down. Why is it so? Why did I feel like I had to start this stream and talk about this? Several people I know, including myself, most people I know, are going through the ringer when it comes to finding somebody to be around long term. Whatever kind of partner that may be, doesn't really matter. It's just hard to connect with anybody. Anybody. Now, there are lots of potential reasons for this. It could be a social skill issue. It could be you're a little weird like I am and just kind of, repel people away, that sort of thing. You could have a whole slew of things. You could even you could go to therapy and have people talk to you about these issues and help you work through them, and maybe just maybe you'll find someone after you fix yourself. Now, there's all these different things you can do to try to make yourself the perfect draw for some kind of friend or some kind of partner to show up in your life, and then you're golden. You're golden. There's this sort of ideal that it just takes a certain charisma, or it takes a certain physical appearance, and all this stuff you can work on your own, on your own time or with your own money. You can hire somebody to fix you up. You go to the gym. You could do all these things. Prepare yourself to find love or something like that. That's the ideal. Now, that's the ideal that's lingered into the 2020s and worked back in the day. Probably in the 1990s was the last time this would have worked, when you could just talk to people openly and share feelings without getting, harassed or judged. All I can think about right now is the amount of people that sort of band together with this new internet phenomenon. It's not very new anymore, but this phenomenon on the internet, and we go around and we bandwagon, or we jump on this collective, pitchforks and torches for people we don't like, and usually it's because they make stupid mistakes. And guess what? We all make stupid mistakes. I don't want to, be the bearer of bad news and beat an already dead horse even more. But we all make stupid mistakes, and so this, at least in my mind, this sort of fear of failure that overwhelms all the internet right now, and all this sort of cancellation stuff, it sort of also happens in your own head, where you're like, man, if I do this and I fail, man, I'm gonna get canceled here. Everybody I know is not gonna trust me. Gonna lose this sort of crowd of people that I've associated with. All these sort of weird phenomena come about if you really think about how our decisions impact our lives now. Now, again, the main issue here is, how do you connect with somebody that wants to have a connection with somebody else? Like, how do you locate and lock in that mutual connection? I have no freaking idea. I've asked people, I've asked ChatGPT, I've gone on the dating apps, and oh my, what a crapshoot. There's a whole world of options in terms of, it's almost like a shameless clickbait for all these different things. Like, oh, you want to meet friends? Go on Bumble for Friends, man. Get on there, make an account, and you'll find them. But what you realize is, it's like the people on there, a lot of them at least, there's either there's these little caveats with everything, where it's like, yeah, this person wants a friend, but they also play Equestria War. It's like, it just doesn't seem right, And so you're kind of stuck with the friends you've made in person, right? But then everybody moves, everybody's gone, and so now maybe there's an argument here that what we're dealing with, people in, your early 20s, is once everybody's busy, you sort of default at the adulthood status of friendships and partnerships, where, you don't see each other very often, you move on, you grow up. Yet, while that is kind of the case, and is not, and can work as a mindset, you sort of lock in, build your life, people aren't starting families till they're in their 30s. So now that leaves like a decade from when you turn 22, 23, you're out of college, everybody's moving around, trying to settle in and get jobs and, make money. No one's around, and yet you also don't really have a partner yet, because nobody wants to settle down fully and start a family, because that makes no sense. So you're in this weird sort of middle period where, oh fuck, you're in this weird sort of middle period where the only thing that makes sense right now is to be lonely. That's what I'm starting to think. It's a defeatist attitude. It's no bloody good, but here we are. And so there's been some, sort of changes in my lifestyle to try to bring about the change I want to see. That's a good classic mindset to have. Just, be the change you want to see in your life. Classic. Now, what can you do? Why don't I try on the dating apps? Let's lock that in. This was a couple months ago. We go ham on those things. We make accounts that look good. I start locking down, battering the hatches on all the style and the choices of my photos, the comments I leave, and all this. And there's some success. There's a little bit of success, but not very much, because the apps are so disconnected from the real world that no matter how normal or how, you want to present yourself as, what am I trying to say? No matter which way you choose to present yourself, you'll never present yourself the way you actually conduct yourself in real life. Those apps are kind of like this nasty distillation of who you are, and it sucks. You know, it freaking sucks. So, all that said, you give the apps a good effort, it doesn't go anywhere. So you delete them all. And then you're back to square one loneliness. So then the other great beacon of light is, man, why don't I go out and do this in real life? And it felt, God, if you're out there and you're able to riz them up and you're somebody that's played Hearts of Iron 4, I think you're a unicorn, man. I don't see how that could be the case. Let me just say that. All right? I don't see how you could play a game like this. You could be a nerd, you could be, you know, a tamer person that just games, you know, and find love out there. Like riz them up in the bars. Let me comment on that too, because I'm kind of losing my own streak here, and I'm also failing the game. And that's the theme of the stream. You go out to a bar, you know, and if you're not a drinker, then you're already at a loss because, damn, man, you're out in these places and you're just sitting alone, not drinking, and everybody else is drunk. And if you go to the bar, okay, let me break this down even further. If you go to the bar alone, then you're actually screwed. Because then if you decide to drink, you're drinking alone. And that's just never good. And then if you go with somebody, right? Well, hold on, backstep for a minute. If you go alone, and let's say you don't fall into the drinking alone rabbit hole. Let's say you go and you just sit there alone. There is no way anybody's coming up to you. Like, statistically impossible. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Unless you're like a 10 out of 10, like, absolute hunk of a guy, and you sit at the bar and you're just a magnet for people. Maybe. And, like, there's an argument that could be made that maybe you could sneak into a friend group or something, and like, that's at the bar already, and sort of talk them into maybe letting you sit with them. Sure. Again, that just doesn't seem realistic. So then, we've gone over what it would be like to go as a single person to a bar. You bring a partner. Now, if you bring a girl that's a friend of yours, then everybody's going to think you're dating. Most people. So, nobody's going to approach you, most likely, unless you have a really, like, sort of extroverted female friend that gets you in there. Maybe. The alternative is you bring a guy, and now you're gay. And that sucks. So, you draw in the wrong crowd if you're straight. So you can't really go as duos. You know, you can't. And the chances of finding two like you kind of want to find another duo, you know? Especially if you're both looking for somebody to find at a bar, right? So, all that said, you go with 3 people. Well, now you have to find 2 more people to go with you, and that's hard enough as is. But if you do find 2 more, I think 3 is the ideal number. 3 shows that you're not a couple. You can have a good sort of conversation circle where, you know, with 2 people, it's like a line, right? 3 people, you have a polygon. So you could fit more people into this conversation sphere. So 3 people is probably ideal. 4 people, now you're looking like a friend group. I doubt anybody that's looking for somebody would want to, like, butt into that. You know, it's probably too active of a conversation. And 5 people up, I mean, you've already got a girlfriend probably, man. If you know that many people that are out with you at a bar, then it shouldn't be hard. But all that said, this all depends on so many factors, and it kind of, you would have to have a solution to the problem of just having nobody around, right? So, we've covered a lot of bases here. We've covered the basics of going out to a bar, the failure that can have. And so, where are we now? Where are we now? Why don't we have girlfriends yet? We've tried the apps, we've tried going out in person. Is it just a skill issue? I think so, and there's an argument to be made there. Like, go to the gym, work on your ability to think and process things. All these sort of skills, charisma, humor. You know, you want to be a magnet. There's definitely that sort of thing. But then there's all these fake people that try to lead you on and give you tips on, like, you gotta lock in and get a high-paying job. Or you gotta change your entire personality to fit the current scene. Like, all these things I think are bogus. So the other thing is, you know, we're out there. You can't find anybody on the dating apps. You can't find anybody in person. You feel isolated again. Back to not even square one. You're back to square zero. The default emotion right now seems to be isolation. So when you're isolated, usually I think for most of human history, that would drive you insane. And now it doesn't just drive you insane, it drives you off the walls a little bit, or at least it really wears you down because you have all these distractions of the internet, games, things that are persistent, you know, like you have heating inside, so you're probably able to just sit in a room like I am right now, look at a screen playing Equestrian War, and kind of just goon yourself into complacency with your isolation. And that's the worst place to be. So let me put all this together now. The reason I'm making this stream, I've listed a couple of them. There's more than one. The reason I'm here doing this right now on Halloween is because me, you, and a lot of my friends, we're at this age now, I'm assuming a lot of you, when you're out of college or you're out of high school, you're old enough to think about your future, but too young to really act on it. Or you don't know how to act on it yet. We're at this weird crossroad where I just keep hearing and I keep experiencing just weird failures in terms of dating, in terms of finding people to talk to, getting yourself out there. This weird lack of confidence that isn't just like the usual healthy lack of confidence where you're like, I don't want to go out, you know, it's like not feeling well tonight. That's fine. But then when it's like, nah, I'd never want to go out, or like, I don't want to ever put myself out there, just stay isolated. It's like, when is that going to change, man? And like, how do we support each other when we're in these ruts where it's like, you just don't want to do anything, you know? You don't want to go out, you don't want to see anybody, because you've kind of given up. You've gone through all the problems I've mentioned, where you've tried all the outlets you can think of to find yourself something, and none of them have panned out. It's very easy to just give up at that point. And I guess the moral of this stream, and the reason, one of the 800 reasons as I've listed, that I'm making it, is because I hate seeing people down and out about this stuff. I myself have been down and out about it. Jeez, that's hard to say. Down and out about it a lot. But you cannot give up, because we're all still young, I'm assuming. Hopefully there's no, like, 80-year-olds here. There's probably nobody here. But we're all young. We have a lot of potential to grow and to find out what it is that we can do to better ourselves. Not just for our own good, but for the good of others. And I'm hoping, my current theory is, so dating apps, junk, mostly junk at least. You know, you might get lucky, but mostly junk. It's like gambling. IRL is the way to go. It's the way to go, especially if you want to actually have a sort of style of relationship with somebody that is more than just the online sort of sphere, right? So that's what I think. I think IRL is the way to go. Lock in, clean yourself up the best you can, but don't change yourself, because I think us gamers, we may not be, you know, the most well kept or well designed of humans to be out and about, but I think that is the way of the future, is to get out, do things, have a little confidence, but not too much. So to all of you out there wondering why you don't have a girlfriend, I don't think I gave you any answers, but I just want to give you some courage to know that you are not alone in this. Ironically, you are not alone. You have lots of men struggling the same way as you, so you could become gay. That's an option. I'm not advising. Well, I'm not disapproving. But anyway, where was I? The game is over. Have a happy Halloween, and yeah, this is sort of one of those streams that I'll probably end up deleting at some point. So watch it while you can. Get your grubby little hands on it. Thank you for tuning in. And in the next one, my girlfriend will join the stream. So I hope to see you there. All right. Goodbye, everybody.